Hey everybody, welcome back to another Monster Hunter Bow video. This is Synchro, and in this video I will be discussing all the different coatings, the arc shots, the regular shots, and some armor skills that you can use in your gameplay when you play bow in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. The first thing I'm going to go over are the different shots that are on each bow. There are three different shots: Pierce, Rapid, and Spread. And I personally, there's no real difference for me. It depends, I guess, solely on the bow, but first one we're going to talk about is Pierce. Pierce shot is a single arrow that hits multiple times on its target. So it's better suited for bigger monsters, monsters that are longer or wider, and Pierce shot, what it's good at is when it goes through a monster, it can hit multiple parts, it can break multiple parts, and that's really fun, really cool, and it really doesn't do well against smaller monsters because it'll go right through the monster, it won't hit as many times, and it won't hit multiple parts and things like that. You can see when I fight against the Lagambi with the Pierce shot, it just doesn't really do it for me. He's not taking that much damage as much as if I was fighting the Rathalos, because the Rathalos is a bigger monster, he's a bigger wyvern. You know, he's taking all the shots with the Pierce shot sometimes. It all depends on, where I'm aiming the shot and how I'm hitting him. So it's definitely something more skilled to use. That is a really good shot though if you are really good with that shot. It'll break multiple parts once you know how to use it. The next shot is the rapid shot. Rapid shot is a vertical alignment of arrows that'll hit, and it's multiple arrows, and that's what, if you've seen the other videos, my bow, I believe it's the Arca Una Y, it has rapid shot. Rapid shot is really good for hitting multiple spots. I really like it. I don't really have a problem with it. Rapid shot definitely allows you to apply your status coatings if you're using status coatings more effectively. Maybe not as effectively as Spread, but we'll go over that in a minute. And that one is definitely suited even for smaller monsters. You can hit smaller monsters with it. I've seen, several times maybe an arrow or two will miss. You have to make sure you're hitting all your arrows when you're using the rapid shots. But we'll go over that in a minute with Spread shot, because that's where I think this really applies. The Spread shot, it is the opposite of rapid shot. It is a horizontal alignment of arrows. The spread shot, when you shoot spread shot, multiple arrows come out, and it has a chance to miss monsters that aren't wide enough, but it's really good at hitting wide monsters, long monsters, big monsters. As you can see, if I fight a Lagambi with spread shot or a Carapeco, it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not hitting as often, I'm not getting all of my arrows in, but against larger creatures, the spread shot's a really good shot. I really enjoy it. I think it's really cool. When you're using status coatings on your spread shot, you're definitely, with spread shot, it's easier to apply status coatings, especially if you're hitting all of your arrows, because each individual arrow, this is for all of them, each individual arrow for rapid and spread will apply their status coatings. So spread shot's a good shot for applying status coatings, and it's definitely a good shot because you're hitting large monsters, and it's definitely better for you if you're not used to using Pierce shot and you don't think that you are able to hit multiple parts all the time on a monster, because there's a certain sweet spot with the Pierce shot. But those are the different shots. The next thing are the arc shots. Arc shots, as I discussed, that's the arrow rain, and I personally, my favorite is the focus arc shot. Focus arc shot is multiple arrows raining down in a focused or, one specific area. So it's really good for hitting the head. It's really good for, if you want to break wings, things like that, if you're raining down arrows. And it's not unreliable. It's a really good shot if you're good at it. I just think that it's a wonderful shot. It's definitely my favorite out of the three. Wide shot, for example, wide shot, when you use wide shot, arrows are falling in a general area as opposed to the focus shot, which is one area, so it's still a controlled, smaller area, but you're not always going to hit the head, especially if you're aiming for the head. You're not always going to be hitting specific parts that you want. It's not as good on smaller monsters, like the Lagambi. When you use wide shot, it'll miss some of its arrows, even half of the arrows, maybe more than that. It's definitely not as well versed as the focus shot. It's not as good as focus shot for hitting smaller monsters. If you aren't really good with the focus shot, if you can't really hit all those spots, well, not all the spots, but if you can't really aim the focus shot really well, you don't know the distance yet, and you're not really hitting the head all the time, maybe you should start out with wide shot. Wide shot is definitely good for beginning With the arrow range, because the wide shot does hit a general area, especially on larger monsters, it'll probably hit, if you fired in the general direction of the monster, and at least you're somewhat close, you'll probably hit all your shots. They're not all going to be on the head, and if you're not worried about that, then go for a wide shot. That's for you. Blast shot this is new to me because I just started toying with this. I've never really used blast shot before, but blast shot is a single arrow that comes down in one location. So what it does is when it makes impact, it explodes, and it does concentrated damage. It's more damage than the focus shot, because focus shot also has a chance to miss some of its arrows for sure. But the blast shot, it'll also apply status effects faster. You can see when I poison Karapeko, I believe, Karapeko with the poison arrow, poison blast shot, he poisons a lot quicker. As long as you're hitting it, the damage is more constrained to one area. It's definitely doing a lot of damage. My only problem with it is I'm not really so comfortable with it, because if you do miss the head, you miss the head. Focus shot, if you're aiming at the head and you miss the head with the first two arrows, the other arrows might rain down and hit the head, and they continuously rain down for a couple of seconds, so that the monster, if it's moving its head or whatever, if it's moving its body a little bit, you can still hit it. If you miss with the blast shot, you miss with the blast shot, but the damage is better than the focus shot. That's blast shot. The coatings in Monster Hunter, there's 7 different coatings. Those are the power coatings, close range coatings, poison coatings, paralyzed coatings, sleep coatings, exhaust coatings, and paint coatings. Starting with power coatings are basic coatings that add more damage to your shots. They're really good coatings if you can put them on your bow. If you have access to them, definitely use them. The power coatings will add damage to your bow no matter what range you're at. If it's close range, if it's medium range, even if it's long range, I believe the damage is the same. So there's no reason not to use the power coatings. The close range coatings only add damage to the close range of the monster. So if you're standing next to the monster, if you're standing really close to the monster, you're going to be doing more damage. Normally you're not doing as much damage without coatings that close. If you're just firing no coating shots, or if you're firing other coatings like poison, paralyze, or sleep, and you're standing really close to the monster, you're not doing as much damage. The optimal range for doing damage is 2 to 3 hops away. And, if you watch my other video, I tell you don't worry about, where you are. As long as you're doing damage, you're doing damage. When you start to worry about what your damage is, close range coating allows you to do good damage right up next to the monster. I personally don't really like close range coating. I don't like standing that close to the monster. It's not me. If that's you, that's you. You can do whatever you like if that works for you. But close range coating also doesn't do as much damage as power coating, doesn't add as much damage, so power coating still trumps it in that regard, but that's all you. The power coating can load 50 power coatings, without making more during a single quest. Close range, you can only bring 20 of them, so it's not really that good compared to the power coating. Close range coating can cut tails. If you have your close range coating equipped and you melee with close range coating, you can cut tails with it, but it's highly unadvised because it takes a long time for you to do enough cutting damage to cut tails with your bow. I would never try to cut a tail unless it was maybe just for one video, just to show you how long it takes. It's not a lot of fun to me. I would leave cutting tails up to your group mates. If you need a tail cut and you're playing solo, I think your best bet would be to make a sword and take a sword and cut the tail yourself with the sword, drop the bow for a little bit. Poison coatings, when you load poison coatings in, after a certain amount of shots it'll poison the monster. It's really basic. That's how all the status effects work. You load in your poison coatings and you shoot poison coatings at the monster. Eventually they'll be poisoned. You can see the poison. It's the little purple bubbles above their head. You know they're poisoned. Paralyze works the same way. Paralyze, you shoot paralyzed coatings and the monster becomes paralyzed. It's real obvious when they become paralyzed. Sleep coatings, just like in my other videos, you see I do it all the time. Sleep coatings allows you to put the monster to sleep. I want to address really quick that I was doing sleep bombing wrong, and it was brought to my attention, and I knew I was doing it wrong, and I didn't really care at first, but a lot of people were correcting me, and so now I'm not going to do that again. Thank you everybody for addressing this. When you sleep bomb something, you put something to sleep. When you bomb something, you want to put your barrel bombs down near its face, or wherever you want to bomb it. If you're going to put down smaller bombs to blow up those bombs, don't put them inside or next to the monster, because the the small bombs are going to go off first, and that's going to waste all that double damage you're doing from the other two large barrel bombs on the monster. So put the bomb next to the barrel bomb away from the monster and have that little bomb go off, and then you'll be doing much more damage with the other two bombs than you would be with putting the small bomb right next to the monster. So make sure you keep that in mind. Exhaust coatings deplete the stamina of the monster. So you know when you see a monster, after a while you've been fighting and it gets tired, it starts to drool, that is what them being tired is. They have no stamina. That's what exhaust coating does. It speeds up that process. It does exhaust damage. It exhausts the monster more quickly, and they will lose all of their stamina. I believe the actual value is 200 stamina or something like that, but I'm not really into the specifics like that. Paint coatings, you can load 99 of them. It's just, you know, instead of throwing a paintball, you can load a paint coating in and you can shoot paint coating and the monster's painted. It's really simple, it's really nice. The only reason why I don't do it so much is because I like to load my sleep coating in before I go into battle, and I'll throw the paintball. This way I don't have to load a new coating in the middle of battle before I start fighting the monster. But that's just me. You can do whatever you like. If you like loading paint coatings, then go ahead, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. Armor skills that are good for bow. There are a few skills. I'm not going to go over like general skills that are good for everybody. Like there are skills like expert and evasion, and those are all really good for everybody. But these are specifically for bow. The first one I have is fast charge. Fast charge gives you a skill called focus. Focus allows you to charge your bow faster. It decreases charge time, I believe, by 25%. No, it's 20%. Charges your bow 20% faster. So to get to that double charge, it'll take you 20% less time if you have the fast charge skill. But that also goes for your great sword charges and things like that. But it's really good for bow. Definitely a great skill to have. Stamina gives you marathon runner, depletes your stamina twice as slow, so that when you're charging your bow, your stamina goes down slower. You have more stamina during the fight. You don't have to worry about running out of stamina while you're charging your bow. Stamina recovery up. Your stamina recovers twice as fast. I think that's a great skill to have. Your stamina bar will fill up faster when you're not doing anything. You know, it allows you to have more stamina for the fight. I wouldn't go for both. I'd go for one or the other. If you're going to get one, get Marathon Runner or get stamina recovery up. It's kind of useless if you have both. Status attack will increase the potency of your statuses. So if you have status attack +1, it'll make it easier for you to apply status effects to your monsters like poison, exhaust, sleep, paralyze. Status attack +2 makes it even easier, so you'll be able to do more status effects easier. It's definitely a great skill to have if you like to play status bows, status effects like I do. I'm definitely going to be looking for a set with status effect or status attack up in the future. Reload speed. There's 3 levels of reload speed. +1 allows your coating application to be decreased by 25%. So what this means is when you load your coatings into your bow, without it, it's kind of slow. I don't really like to do it in the middle of battle without at least +1. My Zenogre set has +1, and that allows me to load in my coatings a lot faster. The other 2 levels are more for bow gun, and they allowed reload speed of bow gun to be increased, because levels 2 and 3 for bow make it so that your coating application is instant. You don't need level 3 if you're going for your reload speed. If you have reload speed +2, your coating application of your bow will be instantaneous. That's a really good skill to have. Load up increases the charge level of your bow by 1. So instead of being able to charge twice, if you have the loading skill, the load up skill, you'll be able to charge 3 times instead of 2. Normal up increases the damage of your rapid arrows by 10%. Pierce up increases the damage of your pierce arrows by 10%, and pellet up increases the damage of your spread arrows by 30%. Those, if you're going for more damage, if you see them on sets and you like them, definitely go for them. I'm not going to tell you which skills you need to get. It's all about what you want to play. So if you like rapid arrows and you really want more rapid arrow damage, get normal up, increases the rapid arrow damages by 10%. I think that's really good. You know, same thing for pierce arrows, 10%. Pellet up, spread arrows by 30%. That's really good. I'm not sure what the balancing is there between the 10% and the 30%, but I'll probably go into that in a future video once I find out. There's a skill called Steady Hand, which does all of the above. Steady Hand will give you the skill called Silver Bullet, and it increases the damage of your rapid arrows by 10%, increases the damage of your pierce arrows by 10%, and increases the damage of your spread arrows by 30%. I personally don't see a reason to have that skill, because you should, if you're using a bow for a specific armor set, I don't think you're going to be changing your bow out that often, and if you are changing your bow out, you might have a different armor set completely for that. So I don't really see the need for Steady Hand, because you're mostly going to be using your double charge all the time anyway, so that's whatever. And then there's, of course, Status Coating Plus, or any coating plus. If you see a skill called Power Coating Plus, or it's called Power C Plus, Close Range Plus, Poison Plus, Para Plus, that allows you to load that coating into that bow. So if you have a bow that can't load power coatings and you have the Power Coating Plus skill, you are now able to use power coatings with that bow, and there's one for each coating. My armor is gemmed for Sleep Coating Plus because I love sleep coating, so I can't normally use sleep coating, but now every bow I use will be able to use sleep coating because my Zinogre armor set is gemmed for Sleep Coating Plus. Those are the different armor skills that I think are really useful. If you are from the GameFAQs forums, the GameFAQs member Unexpression has created a couple of messages in my topic about armor sets that he thinks are useful. He's got Ludroth listed, gives you Marathon Runner. Legambi has extra evasion, he likes that. When you get to high rank, he was recommending Giganox U, Renopolis S, around the same area. Benabra set has status attack +1 and Quick Sheath, he thinks those are good. The Narga Kuga set comes in late in the game, but it has evasion +1, sneak, evade, extender, and he thinks those are all really good sets, and I agree with him, those are good sets. It's all really what you want to play, so if you're from the GameFAQs forums, definitely drop into that topic. That's on the 3DS. I have two topics going, one for 3DS and one for Wii U, but definitely drop in. We can discuss these armor sets, we can discuss, what you want. Definitely drop a comment if you like. And that's it for this video. I will see you soon. The next video I will be doing will be about underwater combat, and I will be fighting the Puthion, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you next video.